CIPA March 2022 is up over February, but still down from March 2021 and March 2020. Details coming up, but first I encourage you to subscribe and choose all notifications so you're kept informed on the latest camera gear, news, and rumors. CIPA just released the March 2022 digital camera and interchangeable lens data. This CIPA slide represents the number of all digital cameras shipped in March, measured in the hundreds of thousands of units. This includes both cameras with fixed lenses as well as interchangeable lens cameras. 2022 is in orange, 2020 is in purple, and 2021 is in black. And we can see that 2022 for January, February, and March is below each year, and each of those years has had its challenges. Now, March is up thanks to the release of the Panasonic GH6 and the OM system OM1, both of which are selling really well. So we can see a definite uptick in the digital camera sales thanks to those two cameras, but we don't have a whole lot planned for the next couple of months, although we are expecting a couple of camera announcements to drop later this month at the Fujifilm X Summit on May the 31st. So hopefully we'll get some cameras announced then. That will help pick up numbers for the rest of the year. But compared to 2021, which was considered a very slow year, it looks like we're trailing that year considerably. And again, compared to 2020, where things got off to a bad start. But if we take a look at August, you can see that huge bump right here. And the reason for that bump is we had some much anticipated cameras being announced. The Canon EOS R5 for one, that was leaked back in January of that year. Canon kept hyping it up. Everybody kept hyping it up. I kept covering it. And well, it took off. And even today, it's in short supply 2 years afterwards. So that was announced along with the Canon EOS R6. Both cameras have done really well. And then a month after that, Sony released the A7S III, another much anticipated camera, that had been waited for almost 5 years. So with all those camera bodies coming out, selling very well, that really helped to pick up and save 2020. But 2021 it had some great cameras, but not enough, and not enough availability of units to really do much to improve the sales of 2021. Breaking things down a little bit further, 2022 doesn't look like it's lifting up much, but things would be far worse had it not been for the release of the Panasonic Lumix GH6 and the OM1. 2020 was off to a good start, but we all know what happened, causing a sharp decline in the first half. Sales took off, as I just mentioned, in the second half thanks to the release of the Canon EOS R5, R6, and Sony A7S III. These cameras, much anticipated and still in high demand, really resulted in 2020 saving itself. But 2021 started off poorly. It did get a boost in March before stagnating for the rest of the year, plagued with delays and deferrals due to parts and material shortages. This chart shows the interchangeable lens cameras by units shipped. ILC cameras make up the bulk of digital camera sales, with integrated lens cameras making up about half of this number at best. ILC cameras shipped are the main reason for March's uptick, as is evident here, where we can see the integrated lens cameras almost flat over February. I know what you're thinking, Marty. The reason why we're having trouble getting cameras sold, getting them shipped, getting them announced, is because of parts and material shortages that started in 2020. Shipping challenges, channel challenges, you name it, it's there. And it's not just cameras, it's anything with a microchip in it. It's computers, it's appliances, it's cars. In fact, even just trying to get cars repaired, it's the shipping channels, just trying to get stuff once it is produced to the destinations. Everything is plagued by shortages, parts and materials. And as long as most people aren't traveling right now, they aren't using services, the demand there is for people to use their money to purchase goods and not services, putting more demand on the current infrastructure. Now, once that starts to turn around, once we start to get more people traveling and using services, that will decrease demand on actual material or tangible items, which will make a difference. But also chip fabrication plants will start to come online. That's not supposed to happen until next year, and it's going to take a while for them to clear the backlog out. So we probably won't see everything start to return to normal until 2025. And that is, of course, if other elements that just started this year don't get worse. We are facing a very tough time. I don't remember a time in recent history that was anything like this. You almost have to go back to 1918, when we just got over a cataclysmic war, went into a boom period, but we had another outbreak. We had all sorts of issues coming together. And from about 1918 up until about 1945, they were plagued with problem after problem. I certainly hope we don't have that repeat here. I hope we don't go from one problem to another. But one thing I want to share with you is this decline in camera sales in shipped units isn't something that started in 2020. Taking a look at this slide here, this is another CIPA slide. It's from 2012, the full year production shipped of digital camera sales. And look at that number highlighted in red. That was the peak for interchangeable lens cameras, 20.2 million units. 16.2 million of that is single lens reflex cameras. And then of course, non-reflex, which includes mirrorless cameras, is just under 4 million. So it looks like a really good year. We got lots of units being shipped. And again, I'm drawing your attention to total units shipped worldwide. We're not just talking about Japan, Europe, or the Americas, although this slide does show that information as well. We can see that the units shipped to Japan is 1,800. Europe is about 7,000 units. The Americas, 4,800. Asia, 6,200, and so on. So a lot of good information here. So 2012 was the peak, but take a look here in 2013. We can already see a noticeable decrease in total units shipped, down from 20.1 million to 17.1 million, with single lens reflex 13.8 and mirrorless or non-reflex 3.3 million units. So already the market is in serious decline. So while we've had many challenges since 2020 that have resulted in parts and material shortages, the decline in the digital sales or the digital camera market or the camera market period, where we're talking about SLRs, DSLRs, mirrorless, ILCs, non-ILCs, all that together has been in sharp decline since 2012. And in 2013, we didn't have a bad year, but we already lost about 3 million units. And that decline continued sharply right the way through to where we are here in 2022. In fact, in 2021 and 2022, and even going back to 2020, that decline has started to slow a little bit, where we're looking at somewhere around 5 to 7 million units a year. And Canon had projected or predicted several years ago that they see the market reducing all the way down to about 5 million units. And they were perfectly comfortable working within a market of that size, no plans to leave it and to continue innovating to be a dominant player in that market. And Canon is a dominant player right now with about 48% market share based on 2021 CIPA data. Sony and Nikon are almost neck and neck, depending on which data you look at. They're around 20 to 22%. There was one sales report that came out last year that showed them around 14%, but that was based on Japanese retailers and sales numbers for Nikon. It wasn't talking about worldwide global market share. So it is a tough time, really tough time for camera makers. But for you and I, those that love cameras, whether it's Canon, Nikon, Pentax, Sony, OM1, Lumix, we're starting to see some really wonderful cameras coming. So the nice thing is, as the market is contracting a little bit, all these companies are competing. They're really competing very, very well on capabilities and outcomes so that we're getting much better cameras. So even as the market is starting to consolidate a bit, the cameras that we're getting are truly, truly amazing. So that is one bit of good news. Although, of course, can you get a hold of these cameras? That's the biggest problem. And if you want to stay up to date on the latest camera news and rumors, such as CIPA information, go ahead and subscribe, but make sure you choose all notifications. So that way, as soon as I release news or announce anything, put out a video, you're going to be the first to know and be up to date on the latest camera news and rumors. But that's it for now. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you again soon.